Hey guys, it's Barrett with the Gimme Camper. So I'm going to do something a little bit different here. I'm going to do a Blackstone cooking video. You know, I've done one or two of these in the past and they didn't really take off. But I can't get out and camp right now, so it's doing whatever I can find to do. And this is more of like camping food that's different. And so I'm hoping that people will kind of watch this and give it some watch hours. And I've never cooked this before, and so I was stepping out on a limb. It did end up pretty good. The family really liked it. It is keto, by the way, as long as you don't have a soy sauce that's full of sugar. But basically what we did was some chicken and cabbage stir fry. So guys, this is a pretty simple cook. I'm just going to tell you what I did. Don't get too hung up with the details because they don't really matter here. I'm just going to tell you what I put into it. I had one bowl of cabbage that I cut into about 1 centimeter slices. I had a bowl of shaved carrots, some broccoli florets, 1 pack of chicken tenders that I cut into cubes. Then we just put some olive oil down on the griddle. I did have a problem with this cook because the griddle ran out of gas, and then I turned the gas on too quick, I guess, and so the gas flame wasn't as good as it should be. I would suggest doing a medium-high to high heat setting. I've always put the chicken on first. So I put the chicken on, put a little bit of salt and pepper on there to taste. Also, you can do a little bit of the lemon juice and the soy sauce right now. I also added some sesame seeds. I don't do that a whole lot, but I thought I'd give it a try because we had some laying around. I cooked this on my 28, which obviously has a little bit of a warp top. You can see from time to time it gets on my nerves, but it works just fine. But because I had the bigger griddle and not the 17 that I used camping, I went ahead and threw the broccoli and the onions on the other side. Mainly I wanted to get the broccoli on because I figure it's going to take longer to cook than the cabbage. If I was using the 17-inch griddle, I would cook the chicken probably and then take it off, and then cook the broccoli, and then take it off, and then cook the cabbage, and then add it all together. That's how I usually do things like that. I do suggest a melting dome. I have one here, so I'm going to pour a little bit of water in there. And then I want to cover it with a dome to kind of hold some steam in, try to steam that broccoli up a little bit. If you don't have one of those, you can also use the disposable tins that people put like Thanksgiving and stuff in. You just turn it upside down and set it right on top of there. You just have to be careful when you're taking it on and off because it can be a little hot. Basically the goal now is just to get these two things to cook pretty good. It's going to take me a little longer time than usual because I still hadn't figured out when I was making the video that the flame was stuck on low at this point. And so we're going to change the gas here in a minute and really cook things up a notch. Basically at this point we're just going to keep stirring these couple of things up till they cook really good, and maybe add a little bit of lemon juice and a little bit of soy sauce every now and then. But we just don't want it to burn on one side, so we're going to keep turning it over. This is about the time where it looked like the broccoli was starting to get done, so I decided to scoot it on over by itself so we can throw the cabbage on. So the cabbage, this is one small head of cabbage. It takes up quite a bit of space. I cooked this since and I used a large cabbage and it took up the whole griddle. I went ahead and mixed the shredded carrots in with the cabbage. And basically we're just going to let it cook here for a few minutes. I try a couple of different techniques. One, spreading the cabbage out on the griddle just to try to get it starting to sear, and one's using the dome lid here. I wasn't able, it's hard to get all of that cabbage underneath the melting dome, but it works out pretty good. You can usually fit most of it under there, and you're just going to keep stirring the rest of the stuff up until we about get done. Then occasionally I'm going to add a little bit of lemon juice to the cabbage, some soy sauce to it. I did use also about a half a stick of butter in it as well. Just remember when you're working on the cabbage not to forget to keep turning over the broccoli and the chicken and all that stuff too. Whenever it gets to the point where you feel like it's getting done, you can go ahead and mix it together a little bit. And then if you just want it to kind of stay warm, what you can do is just scoot it all over to the side of the griddle because it's not as hot there as it is over the center. Also, by moving it over the side just to kind of keep it warm, you have more space on the griddle, so you can spread that cabbage out a little bit if you want to try to make it a little bit more crisp. So the only thing we're going to do now is keep doing the same things we're doing. We're going to keep stirring this stuff up, add a little bit of soy sauce if we want to, until the cabbage gets the way you desire it, which is probably going to be basically like a translucent color, and you can basically tell whenever it gets done to your liking. So after it gets that far, then we're going to mix everything together and let it cook a little bit more. I did decide to move over the cabbage to one side and add a little bit of oil to the griddle underneath to try to help it crisp it up a little bit on both sides. So we spread it out on the one side and then we move all the cabbage over and we put a little bit of oil there. I don't know if it really helped or not, but that was my reasoning behind this. And there it is, the moment we've been waiting for. Cabbage looks done, so we're going to mix it all together here and just let it cook together to absorb some of those flavors together before we take it off the griddle. And then we're all done.
Do not forget to hit that subscribe button.